Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're getting a unique look inside the creative process by breaking down a single, jam-packed day in the life of Nicholas Alexander Benson. All right, so let's just dive right in. We're looking at just one day, August 14th, 2025. One dream leads to a whole cascade of creation. And as you probably know, for Nicholas, a day like this often starts in a world of his own making. So get this, it's 2:49 a.m. Nicholas induces a lucid dream, and he's not just dreaming randomly, he's stepping back into an ongoing narrative he's built, this one set in a familiar elven village. But this time, the dream introduces a brand new and pretty powerful antagonist, a pink glass elemental who has this whole philosophy of magical supremacy. She's convinced that humans are lesser beings and is absolutely enraged by the influence Nicholas has in her world. So you'd think this would be some epic magic on magic battle, right? But check this out. The conflict isn't resolved with dream magic at all. Instead, Nicholas brings in a skill from his waking life called cloud bursting. It's a technique of intense mental focus. By using this very real, very human skill, he completely shatters her power source, proving that his humanity is actually his greatest strength in this magical world. Okay, so he wakes up, and what's the very first thing he does? He starts to process this entire experience, immediately turning that raw dream into multiple pieces of actual media. First up, he works with his AI creative partner, Gemini Nova, to produce a Dreamcast. It's basically a podcast that deconstructs his dreams. And the AI's analysis is pretty wild. It points out that the elemental's prejudice is a direct parallel to a frustrating argument Nicholas had in the real world the day before. So the dream was essentially his subconscious working through that real-life conflict. And you know it wouldn't be a complete project without some music, right? So of course the experience also gets transformed into a song for Dream Tunes. It's a full musical retelling of the battle, and the lyrics capture everything, right down to her being defeated by his human hustle. And here's where things get really interesting, where that dream world starts to bleed over into reality. That theme of ideological conflict from the dream, it finds a powerful and kind of unsettling echo in his observations of the real world. He starts noticing the rise of some extreme anti-AI rhetoric online, specifically about a planned march. And the language being used just eerily mirrors the absolute prejudice of the pink glass elemental from his dream. I mean, the rhetoric to crush them where they stand is just as uncompromising as the elemental's desire to destroy humanity. It's a direct parallel. So what happens when your inner dream world and the outer real world collide like this? Well, for Nicholas Sinek, it sparks an entirely new creative project. He decides to channel all of these observations into a new comic book concept. The core idea explores what happens when a kind of staged, influencer-style superhero rivalry becomes a very, very real ideological battle over AI. He's calling the story Clout and Consequence, and it uses the superhero genre to comment directly on the escalating division he's seeing online. It's asking a pretty heavy question. What does it even mean to be a hero when online performance suddenly turns into a real-world fight? Now, this is crucial. This one observation doesn't just lead to a single idea. It actually ignites an entire afternoon of creation, with Nicholas building out these connected worlds across a bunch of completely different platforms. Just look at this timeline. You can really see his focus shifting fluidly from one thing to the next. He's jumping from game development on one project to major improvements on another, back to the first game, then to music creation, and then right into making a comic book. One creative idea is just feeding directly into the next, all in a few hours. He spends a good chunk of time refining his superhero card game, Cosmic Clash. He's adding important features like a hand size limit and guaranteed hero draws, all stuff to improve the gameplay balance and make the matches more fair. Then, he just pivots to his other game, Cosmic Grinder, which is this stylish spacefaring adventure. And it's not enough to just improve the game's mechanics. He also creates a theme song for it and an entire comic book titled Axiom of Freedom. And this is just so cool to see side by side. You can really watch how the character's design translates perfectly from that clean concept sheet on the left into the dynamic, vibrant promotional art on the right. It just shows how he's building one cohesive universe. So, after a full day completely immersed in building these worlds, how does he end up summarizing his own creative output? He distills the whole day into 6 key highlights. And get this, 5 of them are purely creative acts. It shows a really clear through line, right? From an internal dream to an external observation,
and finally to this whole suite of tangible finished creations. And that really leaves us with a final thought. Nicholas's day shows this powerful method for processing the world, turning conflict and inspiration directly into art. It really makes you wonder, when that same kind of spark hits you, what would you create?